My questions are literally going to be in a sense of genuine enthusiasm.
I love that question. Oh my God.
I see you getting such good, beautiful tidbits of the artists' lives.
Welcome to another episode of Genuine Enthusiasm. Today, I'm genuinely enthused and excited for my next guest. Today's guest stepped in front of a camera at 14 years old. What started as a way to conquer stage fright turned into a career in modeling, acting, and pole fitness. Industries built on beauty, attention, and power. But what people don't see is what happens behind the lens. Amberlee Lewis is an actor, model, and pole fitness instructor who's navigated fame, vulnerability, rejection, confidence, and introversion, and the blurred lines that can exist in creative industries. She's also a horror film fanatic, a proud introvert, and someone constantly evolving. Today, we're talking about modeling at 14, dating as a model, industry power dynamics, photographers who cross the line, confidence versus objectification. I'm going to remove that line, and what empowerment actually looks like. Amberlee, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Trevor. Very
What
nice
an
to be here.
intro. Did you like that intro? Have you ever been introduced like that before?
No, I don't. Well, no, I don't think so.
Like when you were listening to that intro, what was going in your mind?
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, it's so hard writing bios, and I guess it depends what you need, like what you're doing it for too, because there is a lot of aspects, especially in my career, because I seem to be always having like 3 or more jobs. But yeah, and as you get older, obviously there's more and more to add to that. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's me.
All right, well, let's get into it. You started modeling at 14. Who made that decision or who makes that decision, you or your parents?
Well, my mom is like, she's finally accepted it after years and years, but she was never on board for me to be a model. But people started approaching me honestly at like 5 years old, like just random being like, she should be a model, she should be a model. And then randomly I got like something in the mail that was like for a modeling school. And my mom's like, fine, like this is time. Like if you really want to do this, give it a shot. It did not go well. But, you know, if something's meant to be, it's always going to come back. So something like I always joke that I've retired twice in the modeling industry and now I'm back and I seem to be busier than ever. If it's, like I said, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. It was not an easy industry back then. So I'm happy to be doing it now rather than back then as well.
Well, going back to age 14, do you remember or did you understand at that age what being photographed really meant?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was more like, oh, okay, people like I have to be pretty, but I never really felt that at that age either. So it's really hard. And I spoke to a lot of other models, like especially ones that started in their 20s. They're like, I'm so happy that I started in my 20s because when you're a teenager, you're going through so many different things. You're trying to even just figure out yourself. I still feel like I'm trying to figure out myself, but it's even worse at that age. Yeah, so it's like all about the camera. And then you think, oh, like, is that if I take one bad picture, is that horrible? Like, am I a horrible model? Or maybe I just look that way. It is a different, I can see why my mom was so against it because it can put you through very dark times as well, right? Because you do get rejected and like you're not always going to be what people are looking for. And especially if you're like getting bullied at school or stuff. Like I went through it and I was talking about this recently with one of my students at the studio. Like I get imposter syndrome a lot. And it was way worse back then because it took me a long time to actually confirm that I was a professional model because everybody's like, you're not a model. You're not a model. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, who are you? Who are you to tell me that I'm a model? You're not even in the industry. And it's always people that aren't in the industry that are the first to be like, you're not a model. But
Kind of segues to my next question is when was the first time you felt seen? And when was the first time you felt exposed?
the first time I felt seen was when I came back to it the third and like, which now is still the same time. I went to do a photo shoot. I thought it was just like a regular photographer. And then at the end of the photo shoot, they handed me a magazine and was like, oh, you're going to be in this. And I was like, so happy that that kind of went that way because I probably would have put more pressure on it had I known that was it. And then just from that day, it kind of started giving me the confidence to get back into it. And then like I started doing fun photo shoots with like other dancers and other models that I met. And then it just went out from there. I was like, I've always loved runway. And it was something I really, really wanted to do. So when I got back into the industry, I was like, this is it. This is the time. I'm going to just like take as many shows as possible, as many as they're going to let me in. I'm going in as like a bull. And I did. The first year back, I was pretty much every weekend doing something just to get back into the industry. But now I've settled a little bit more choosy, but also have to value my time a little bit more.
What was stage fright like for you, and how did stepping into it change you?
So I'm very open about this. I had a learning disorder well, I still have it, obviously, but like reading and everything presenting was always terrifying for me. I also have anxiety, as do most people, I guess. But uh, I think just from doing that in school and the bullying, it was always like very scary for me to get up in front of a crowd and do things. I did love drama when I was younger, but um, I always wanted to take an acting class because I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. It's going to be terrifying. I'm not going to like it because I didn't really like improv or anything. So I took one and I ended up falling in love. So acting is like actually fairly new. I did some acting stuff when I was younger, but yeah, and it took off. I wasn't expecting that, but the first thing they asked me when I went into class was, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Because I'm terrified." That's why I'm here. You never know. Like, you have to do things you're afraid of because it could be your passion and you just been holding yourself back the whole time.
Now, did modeling make you feel like you grew up faster than maybe you wanted to, or did modeling make you grow up faster than you wanted to?
Yes and no. So I feel like I grew up pretty fast just from like my experiences as a child. But some of the things you did see, like I remember seeing like 11-year-olds smoking and like also 11-year-olds that looked like they were 21 just because that was the industry back then when I started. So it kind of, and they were doing like crazy thing like partying on weekends and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, this is interesting. I always say like it's probably a good thing I didn't take off at that age because I probably wouldn't look like this. It'd probably be a lot of a harder lifestyle, and I probably wouldn't be still doing it. So I'm happy that I didn't take off as much, and my mom was a little bit like, not just my mom, like my parents were harder on me getting into it then because they cared. And yeah, so the right time is, I believe in divine timing. This is the right time for me. This is when I'm doing the best. So yes, I got to experience it a couple times prior. Were it the best experiences? Not really, but right now the industry is so much better. Everybody's so welcoming. Before it was very competitive. You were never friends with the girls you were modeling with. Like everybody was like, and it's because it was like a competition. Now I don't feel like I'm competing with anyone. Everybody is just like wants everyone to do the best. And it's a nice feeling when I go and like see my model friends or I'm doing an event, it's like hanging out with friends. So it doesn't even feel like a career at that time.
What's your favorite character to play? The villain, the broken one, the strong one?
The villain. I love the villain. I like this might come up later, I guess, but one of my goals is to have like my own horror franchise where I'm like the female Mike Myers, but obviously not Mike Myers, but something that can expand that far because we really don't have one. And sometimes, sadly, like even the female like villains or horror like goblins and stuff will get casted as a man, even though they're female. And I'm like, no, give it to me. I want to do that. I want to creep people out. But yeah, I find it easier than being pretty. You know what I mean?
Well, then I guess I know the answer to the next question is, do you prefer sexy characters over complex characters?
No, I mean, they're both fun to play, especially because I have like the dance aspect. So I don't really consider myself a sexy person at all. I consider myself awkward. So it's nice to play that kind of role just to be like, hey, I can do this and see you in a different light. But I'm also don't feel like I'm a villain every day either, but it is nice to like have that outlet. I think I was reading a book one time and they were like, if you are writing a story, you have to put yourself in that villain's shoes. Like you have to become your most evil part, your evil self, where people can see through it. And I think that's why the best people can. And they always say like the nicest people play the best villains. So I'm hoping I'm nice enough to be a great villain.
Have you ever taken a role that pushed your comfort zone physically or emotionally?
I did, but I didn't really know it was going to be that. I did a true crime. I was in the Holly Jolly Homicides on Paramount. So I played a murder victim. And I didn't realize because I was just doing reenactment how much I would actually embody the character. So that was the first time where like I was in an abusive relationship and like my husband ended up killing me, but like was able to like cry and like feel the emotions, like get the fighting out. Like it was difficult, but at the end of the day I was like, wow, I did it. Like and then it was the first day I was like, yeah, I want to do this full time. Like this is my career. I can do this. But it was enlightening. And the first thing I went to do was like to my acting coach and I was like, guess what? I cried. I cried on cue. It was like a huge thing, but yeah, it was tough, but amazing.
Has playing certain characters changed how you view yourself?
Yes and no, because I feel like I put a little bit of me in all my characters. I think I can like disassociate a bit too, because like obviously if you're playing a really horrible character that's not you, you kind of have to bring yourself back to realize like, yes, I would never do this. There are some things that I would never do. Like I would never be able to harm an animal on set. Like it's just not me. Like I can't even watch movies like that. Whenever that happens, I'm like, nope, this is my time. But um, I think realizing like that you can detach yourself a little bit from that and also understand people a little bit more. When I was doing some acting stuff, they were like, okay, we'll take Dexter for some reason, but you're like, okay, try and like see his side, you know? So you put yourself in there so you can basically view people in general differently, good and bad.
What most surprised you when you entered the film and modeling industry?
This is not even like that gritty. I mean, it's actually most surprising was that how nice people are. Like, it wasn't even like, it's not even negative at all because especially because like modeling when I first started was kind of like a negative space and then it's not now. So I was like, okay, well, then acting must be like everybody must be very competitive and mean and whatever. You just have this perception that like, everybody's prima donnas, I guess. And that's not the case at all. Everybody is very welcoming and like, what you see is not really what you get. Obviously, you could have like some people are very strict, but like I value that because they just want what they want. So that's fine. But yeah, I think that was the biggest surprise is that everybody mostly wants the same thing and wants just to be on everyone's side and like coaching. Like I remember walking on my first large set as a background actor. I had no idea what was going on. And like people took me under the wing and were like, okay, this will happen and this will happen. And then like similar things have happened to me where I meet the first person that was like, oh, that's so nice. Like I love seeing someone that's never been here before. This is what you can expect. And yeah, so I don't think it's like secret, but that was my biggest surprise anyways. And that's on me. Like I should never go into a situation, but I think I always prepare myself for the worst so that when something does like it's better. Not a great quality, I guess, but
Well, always this perception that modeling is glamorous. What's the part no one talks about?
before like when I first started, when I went to modeling school, they basically taught us that we were a prop. It's not like this anymore. We have brains. But it was like early 2000s, I guess. They said if somebody asks you how you are, and I still remember this day, you say you're fine. That's it. That's all they want to hear. You put on the clothes, you do what you're told. That's what you're there for. You are a prop. It's no longer like that, I would say, but for me, I've like you get poked and prodded, and I'm just very because I grew up in that like I was trained in that decade, so like for me, I'm a little more low key. I'm like, okay, whatever, do what you have to do. But I remember like going into it again, and a makeup artist was like, okay, I'm gonna do your makeup. Can I touch your face? And I was like, don't you have to? Like, how would you do your job otherwise? But it was just such a weird thing for like consent to be around from going from where I started to now. But yeah, there's a lot of like, I mean, it's not as bad as it seems anymore. I'm sure I've heard horror stories, but luckily somehow, I guess, divine timing, I've avoided them now. Like, people pretending to be photographers that are not, and like certain designers that haven't treated their models very well. I've heard stories. Again, it's not happened to me. Every designer I've worked for has been wonderful. But I mean, there's certain things like you're standing for hours on days. Sometimes you don't take care of yourself. I remember I was really bad when I first got back into it. Like I wouldn't drink water, and then I call it a model hangover because the next day you just feel hungover because you didn't like hydrate yourself or eat enough the day before. But that's mostly on me. You have to make sure you're drinking, but if you're all done up in like a queen's outfit, sometimes you can't go to the washroom, so you know you don't want to eat or drink for like a couple hours. So I'd say those are the harsh things. Like getting your hair done sometimes is not the most comfortable, but you make do.
As you were talking, though, I think you have a horseshoe in your pocket or your purse or your because I mean, I am a photographer. I've been a recruiter. I've booked hair shows. I've had to hire models for different hair companies. And the things I saw and heard, you mentioned the word prop. I've literally heard hairstylists say, don't talk. You're the prop that's holding the hair. So, don't weigh in on how you want your hair to look. You're the prop just holding the hair. Like even smiling, whatever, just you're holding the hair. As long as the hair looks good, you're just holding it up there. So I've heard that experience. I mean, but also to kind of defend, I've also heard how, people will look at models and they'll say, oh, she's so snobby, she's so this, just because of looking at a finished photo. Whereas I've had the behind the scenes, and you've been there on sets where they're not seeing that after you did this most glamorous photo and the photographer's clicking the button in between photos, the model's burping, the model's goofing around, the model's putting I don't know, toothpaste all over her face just to be goofy and keep the set fun. No one sees all that. They just see the finished product of the model looking beautiful, or maybe having a look that it means like she thinks she's better than everyone, even though she was directed to look a certain way. They don't see all that. They just judge on a very quick shot and then assume the person's personality. So that was the things that I was thinking about as you were talking. I'm like, so far I'm hearing that you're just having this beautiful, lovey-dovey world. But I mean, that's why everyone has different experiences. That's for sure what you're sharing with us.
Yeah, like I've had them in the past, but when I got back, it's been a different scenario. But I think somehow I don't attract that stuff. And I've seen it because there's been certain things where like I couldn't make it for something. And then there was a show that everybody was complaining about all this horrible stuff that happened. And I was like, well, I don't know, somebody's looking out for me because I didn't go for that show. So I have been pretty lucky with that stuff. But I understand how people can perceive models differently. My first like short film that was debuted at the Hamilton Film Festival, I played this very dry character, and like I remember my best friend being like, "Oh, you're just so dry," and whatever, and I was like, "Perfect, that's what they wanted." So I also know from going from that angle, like you can't always say like, "Oh, this person's a horrible actor." If the director wanted that, then they're doing their job. We don't know what they were asked for, right? So if they look horrible on set, again, if you play a really great villain, there's people that they like gave up their career because they played the best villain out there and everyone thinks they're a horrible person, but they're actually fantastic. But now they've had to like change their careers because they did it so well.
All right, so let's get into the blurred line part of this. I mean, did anyone ever try to blur those professional lines early on? I mean, let's be honest, photographers sometimes have reputations. Have you ever experienced a photographer ultimately trying to turn a shoot into something more?
Yeah, kind of, but not really for me, because because my mom was so cautious, I think I got that cautiousness too. So and as I get older, I'm not afraid to ask questions. So I'm like, okay, like I want references, like who have you worked for before, like, and like ask certain things. I always ask too, like if I don't know who the photographer is, like, can I bring someone with me? And I've had some people come back and be like, no, I prefer that we work alone and we're going to work in a hotel. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Why do we have to do that? Like, I'm not comfortable. And then if somebody pushes back, that's even like more of a red flag, because anyone that's like, I don't want to say legit, but that's the word that's coming out, will not push back. They'll try and make you feel comfortable, right? They'll be like, oh, okay, like, sorry, I didn't make you feel comfortable. Yes, you can bring that friend, or no, we'll go and shoot outside in a public area. But if they're pushing for certain things, like lingerie or boudoir shoots, or like if they're right away like, oh, do you want to shoot nudes? And it's like, no, I don't do that. Okay, but yeah, would you do it for me? Would you do it for free? You know? So I'm pretty good at weaning that stuff out. So much so that I've actually thought of like working with younger models, like just having like a contact there. So if something was happening or they didn't feel comfortable, call me and I'll do the research for you, or go with you even, like just to see what's happening. It's just better not to go alone. Not blaming the victim, because sometimes you just don't know when things happen and it's absolutely horrible. It shouldn't. And I thought it dropped off for a while where there wasn't these people out there, but then I started hearing in the last year or so that it's getting bad again. So much so, like, I had some photographer approached me and was like, can we do a photo shoot? And I was like, okay, what models have you worked with? And he's like, what's a model? I was like, what do you mean, what's a model? I was like, okay, we're dropping off there. But
I mean, there used to be a term for it back in the day that I heard. It would be like GWC, which basically just meant guy with camera. GWC. That essentially, just because you can click a button doesn't necessarily mean you're a photographer. You know what I mean? And you did kind of answer my next question, but I'll kind of get you to answer it again if you want to expand on it. Is what advice would you give young models about protecting themselves?
Yeah, I would definitely always, it comes with confidence too. Sometimes, especially when you're really new, you want to make everyone happy, and like you don't want to ask those questions, but at the same time, ask them. And if they're too much for that person, you're probably not going to work out well anyways. So trust your gut, ask the questions, see the answers, and ask around. Like, people like me are always out there, like message me and say, do you know this photographer? There's a lot of community groups too that are like, okay, do you know this photographer? Have you had any experiences? But even asking reference, good photographers will give you like, oh, they'll go out and like, I've had photographers ask me like, oh, would you be a reference for me if I ever? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Just send them my contact and I'll let them know, or like show them my photos. Yeah, never go alone. And like make sure sometimes it's even nice to have like a little Zoom call or even like a coffee first. I've done that where I hadn't known the photographer, so we went for coffee first and then we did the shoot after in a public setting so that you felt comfortable. Yeah, don't do anything that doesn't make you comfortable at the end of the day. If your gut's telling you no, there's a reason for it. Trust it. I know it's so hard because you're like, oh, nobody's going to work with me again. That's not true.
Okay, so you're constantly in front of the camera. People see the image. Let's talk about dating. Has being a model changed how men approach you? I mean, I guess you don't really have anything to compare it to because essentially you've been doing this since you were 14. So it's not like you knew too much of a world without modeling in it and dating. But ultimately, maybe is the better way of asking is it if men treat you different before they know you're a model or once they find out you're a model, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, I keep it very separate for the most part, and there has been times like when I say I retired twice, like I totally dropped out of it for a couple times, and usually those are the times where I've been in a relationship. My ex was not okay with it at all. So that kind of held me back a little bit too. But there is like people that I'm random story. I remember I kept on seeing this other model at events and everything, and then it clued in, and I was like, "You've never seen me without makeup." Usually, like everybody in my day to day never sees me with makeup because I don't wear makeup unless I'm doing an event or shows, and it was like very odd, like eye opening, and I'm like you only see me as this like glam bot. Everybody else sees me in my athletic wear or whatever I usually wear on a daily basis. So it is very separate for me. I've never really mixed the two, to be honest. Like I do, obviously people slip into your DMs or whatever, but it's not something like I take up on that because it has always been separate. I don't think like I do keep it private. So that's like my relationship is not involved. I don't kind of like approach it and have it out there in the public or in the modeling world. That's for us. I kind of think of like Dolly Parton and the way she handled like her relationship, and it worked for her. Not that it would matter if I like did intertwine, but I think it's just easier that way. And I don't know if I had someone that was like interested in the modeling world, but most of the time they're not. They're just like, okay, I'm happy that you're doing this, but they see me and when I wake up in the morning at the end of the day, they know what I'm actually like. It's not that glamorous.
Well, without mentioning names, you did mention an ex, but whoever the person was in your past, I mean, was it more that they couldn't handle the attention that you got? Were they intimidated by your career? Like, what essentially was the red flags or the problem? Insecurities? Was it that they assumed just because you might be in a photo with a male model, that means you're sleeping with them? Like, what were the issues that you felt without being too specific, but
I think it was more like they had past experiences with their exes that were modeling, but doing bad things, I guess. So they just pushed that on me. That's kind of why it was kind of more of like a control thing, unfortunately. Like I don't want people to see you like you're mine kind of thing, more so than like a scare of career or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they think like when you're modeling, you're doing it as a profession, right? Like it's you're putting on a show basically. Like yes, it's you're modeling this person, but that's not why I'm out there. I'm not out there to meet people. Like, I mean, yes, I meet friends, and I think that it's like some people are like, oh well, and I hate this because I'm not like this and I don't really put up with this anymore, but like you're mine. And it's no, I choose to be with you, you choose to be with me. That's the kind of person that I need to be with. And it's hard. I mean, and it's also respect. Like if you're not into like doing like lingerie, whatever, that's cool. Like that's you. And if that's like you have an agreement with your partner, that's fine because you agreed on it mutually. But when somebody's pushing you to not do something that you honestly want to do, there's when the issues happen.
So what are your non-negotiables now? I'm not sure if you're in a relationship or not in a relationship, but let's just for this game pretend you're not in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship, what are your non-negotiables? What are your red flags? I know you're saying you keep your world separate. but ultimately, they're going to find out eventually. What are those things you kind of, non-negotiables?
I mean, I'm very open and honest, so it's not like they don't know things. Even if there is people that's come into my DMs, I'm like, hey, look at that, look at this what this person said, because I feel like that's the best way to handle that. If I think the worst is the unknown that happens. As far as dating non-negotiables, I don't do jealousy. I don't believe in it. I think it's a worthless emotion. I know some people say it's love. I don't believe that. If that works for you, that's fine. But I think it can also lead to a lot of things, like when you're holding someone back and then they do, not that you're ever responsible for what someone else does, but people will lash out, basically. So yeah, I'm not a jealous person. I also believe if someone's going to do something, they're going to do it anyway. So why upset myself? It's drinking the poison and expecting it to hurt someone else. That's the same thing. And I want someone that's very supportive. So if they're not, I'm not going to be with you. You know what I mean? You need, and it goes both ways. I want to support someone else for their dreams. I want to see, what do you want to do with your life? Let's see what we can do with that as well as me. It's not just all about me. I want everyone that's you're a team, basically. So that's how I feel. Yeah. So no games. I don't like drama. It's not for me. Some people love it, but I mean, I'm also not lazy, but maybe tired is the right. I don't want to play those games, I got too much going on.
Well, that segues again to my next question. So as an introvert, does dating drain you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, if you meet the right person, then you kind of can decompress together, or just even someone that understands that. I think that's really hard sometimes for people to understand. Sometimes I just need to sit, especially because I'm in very social careers. It takes a lot out of me. Not that I don't love it, but it drains me a little. Sometimes I just need to sit and read by myself, or sit in a dark room by myself. And some people are like, are you okay? And they're not used to that. But I'm like, no, this is how I'm actually going to be okay. You'll see a difference, because I won't be if you don't if I keep on going. I was an only child, so I guess I think that come by that, honestly. I just loved my bedroom time. My worst punishment was not worst, it was my favorite, was go to your room. And I'm like, perfect. I'll go to my room and hang out, listen to music,
And
so self-soothe.
okay, so the next part of this is rapid fire. Okay.
Okay.
Rapid fire. So try to keep your answers under 60 seconds for these
Okay.
ones. Okay. So what kind of man feels safe for you?
One that's honest.
Have you ever had to choose between protecting your peace and chasing chemistry?
Yes, definitely. There has been that case. Yes. Always peace.
Do you think people assume models have endless options?
Yes and no. Yes, I do. Depends if they're in the industry or not, I would say.
What's lonelier, rejection in acting or disappointment in dating?
Probably disappointing in dating.
You did well. Well done. Now, all right, so let's get into pole fitness, empowerment. Pole fitness is often sexualized. Do you feel empowered by that or misunderstood?
I feel empowered by it, but I also feel like being in the community, and I've been doing it, I want to say 8 years now. It'll be close to 8 years. And when I first started, and this is even coming people really close to me, they're like, what, you want to be a stripper? And I was like, no, but I also don't judge people. And then honestly, that's where it came from. So thank you for giving us this sport. Yeah. And then I wasn't even going to be dancing. I wanted to be a trickster. I wanted to do all the crazy stuff, up on the pole and aerial stuff. And then I actually because I was pretty strong, so I was able to skip up pretty fast. And then I was looking at the people I started with that were going the dance route, and I was like, that seems fun. I want to try that. I want to wear those shoes. So I kind of not backtracked, but then I went back to dance. And then, yeah, for someone that wasn't interested at all, I definitely love it. And it is acting out the persona, right? I wouldn't say I'm the most sensual dancer, but I do love testing that to prove that I could be if I wanted to be. Yeah, it's nice. I don't think everyone thinks of it that way now, because we are doing a lot of work but we do value where it came from. So we want everybody to also value that, because we wouldn't have it otherwise. But just because you pole dance or pole fitness or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that you have to fit into that sensual exotic category either. You can do my, I guess, style is creepy. They call it creepy sexy. I love hard hitter songs, and my recent solo, I turned from Batman to Joker in the solo. So yeah, people do, again, it's people's knowledge. So I love to talk. If somebody actually wants to listen about it and how it is, then I'm happy to talk about it. Like, I'm happy to be like, okay, yes, okay, you might think that you've only seen it in this area, but here's all the other things that come out of it. Like community, that's number one. I've never been in a community that's been so welcoming worldwide in my life. Like, I talk to people in Romania, Russia, Germany, and like they are crazy, like amazing dancers. But at the end of the day, when you meet them, they're like just like me, which is nice to have, and it's very welcoming. I love bringing people into the community too. I'm like, come on, just join. I love teaching beginners and seeing them progress. And it is like a confidence building because like when they get that first trick or you like take that video and you're like, oh wow, that's me. It kind of gives you a different perspective.
Do you think there's a difference between owning your sexuality and being objectified?
Yes, definitely. Your confidence comes within. And it goes back to when you're in the change room, you're changing, you see people, and I've never been like I can see somebody and like be in an intimate moment and see them in that light, but I can also see someone just naked and just be like, that's a body. You know what I mean? Like I'm able to separate the two, and I think like even like think about like artistic nudes. They're beautiful, they're artistic, and then you have like another side of it, but they're doing what they're meant to do. You know what I mean? So yes, I think they are very different. I don't know how we can like further them apart. Maybe it's like a respect thing, but it's a very different aspect for sure.
Now, has pole made you more confident in your body or more aware of scrutiny?
More confident in my body, I would say, definitely. I felt like I had lost myself a bit before I started pole, and then it was like my saving grace. And it wasn't it was something I always wanted to try, but I actually had lost my pull-ups, and my friend was like, "Oh, try pole. You'll probably get your pull-ups back." I had them back in 3 months. But yeah, just doing that and being in the community because all the women, and there's some male dancers out there too, like are just very supportive and like, yeah, like you look so good, you're confident, and everybody's like rooting for you, and it's just a very it doesn't put you in touch with your body and not value it more. I don't want to say that, but definitely your confidence gets better. It definitely helps for modeling and acting, I would say too, because you are putting on that character, you are putting on that show. I mean, if you saw me again walk down the street, I'd probably trip, fall in front of you. I'm like, again, I think the most awkward person, but you wouldn't see that, hopefully, probably sometimes, but you wouldn't see that as a dancer.
All right, so let's get into goals now. What are your current goals?
I already mentioned one with I want like my horror franchise. I'm also a huge Law and Order fan, so when they came to Canada, I was like, please, I want to be on there. I didn't mention this, but I also went to school for police foundations. And that's what I graduated in. So that was a career path that I was thinking about taking. Happy I didn't now. I wouldn't be where I am today, but it does help because I was keeping that off for a long time, like when I was submitting for auditions. And then I remember there was one role for a police officer, and I was like, oh, like I did go to school for this. And right away I had a call back, and I was like, perfect. So maybe it is important that I put that stuff on there. Yeah, so I would love to be on that show, even if it was just a day player. Or, obviously it would be nice to be more. And I would like to get like an international commercial too. I think that would be nice. Those are my goals right now. They always, I mean, the whole point of goals is like once you catch, don't say like chasing dreams, I say catching dreams. I'm catching dreams. So once you catch one, you move on to the next one, right?
All right, so give Genuine Enthusiasm podcast an exclusive clickbait moment here. What's a dream you haven't said out loud yet?
Oh my goodness. I want to be on the cover of Vogue.
Well, didn't Drake say unless you're not a model unless you're on the cover of Vogue? So I'm
It's
just
true.
saying. According to Aubrey Graham, don't say you're a model if you aren't on the cover of Vogue. So
Yeah. I mean, hopefully someday I might be 90, but that's okay with me. If I'm a 90-year-old and I'm still doing it, that would make my day.
So okay, so who is Amberlee becoming beyond the image?
Hopefully a better person. I mean, not that I'm a bad person, but I do read a lot of non-fiction books, always constantly trying to get better myself. One thing that I picked up in the last year was like I was always terrified of investments, and I was like, you know what? This has got to stop. Like you're only terrified because you don't know what you're doing. So take on the challenge, make the effort, and just become knowledgeable. So yeah, anytime I can, and it's always changing, right? Because something that might have been okay yesterday is not always okay tomorrow. So constantly educating myself, and sometimes it is uncomfortable, but when you're in a state of discomfort, it means you're growing. So I never want to stop learning. I always say, like, once you think you're perfect, you might as well be done because you're, first of all, you're not, and it reflects. But yeah, learning is like a undervalued thing that we just don't take it seriously. And we always think, oh, you have to go to university or you have to go to school, but you don't. There's so much you can do on your own and then take what you need from it.
Okay, we're coming to the last question. It's like my trademark question that I've been asking in my more recent interviews. You're in an elevator. It's your elevator spiel, your elevator pitch. You're in an elevator, and you're basically saying to the person in the elevator, you're introducing yourself, you're saying what you're all about. Now, the added bonus to this game is you can choose what type of building you're in. So if it's a 6th-floor apartment or is it going to the CN Tower, you can choose the length of the elevator spiel. But ultimately, you get the final word. What are you saying about yourself?
I'm Amberlee Lewis. I'm a little bit crazy and outgoing, but I am up for any challenges that you're up for me. I love acting. I love my pole fitness job and I love modeling. I want to be the creepy villain. Stop giving it to the men. I can do it. Please. I also would love to be a superhero if that's okay. I started stunt training. Give me that role. I more want to be like an actor that does stunts, but yes, like, is Poison Ivy out there? I don't know. I want to be that kind of character. So this is me. I'm very open. Ask me anything.
Awesome. All right, Amberlee, this conversation wasn't just about modeling or acting. It was about power, boundaries, identity, and choosing who gets access to you. From stepping in front of a camera at 14 to owning your space as a woman today, you've evolved in public but grown in private. Thank you for sharing everything with us today, or as much as we got into today. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing this. You're a busy person, but you're an awesome person. I appreciate you giving us a little bit of a glimpse into your world, Amberlee.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a great experience in the podcast world.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you.